The moment her shirt tore in front of the entire gym, time froze. The jeers, the pointing fingers, the cruel laughter. It all faded into a deafening silence. For a heartbeat she stood exposed, not just physically, but emotionally, her deepest fear playing out in front of the people she tried so hard to avoid. But in the next heartbeat, that silence cracked with the thunder of a roundhouse kick, swift, precise, and utterly unexpected. And just like that, everything changed. Part 1T, the invisible girl, Ella Mendez had always lived in the background. At Fairview High, she wasn't hated, but she wasn't exactly noticed either. People passed her in the halls the way they pass vending machines. Useful if you needed something, otherwise forgettable. She kept her hair long enough to hide behind, her voice soft enough to be missed, and her dreams quiet enough to avoid the ridicule she knew would follow if she dared to chase them. Her mother used to say she was born with a poet's soul and a warrior's heart, but Ella never believed the second part, a warrior. Not when her knees trembled just answering a roll call. Not when she had to rehearse saying, "Thank you," to the bus driver. But the truth was, Ella had secrets. Every day after school, she'd walk past the rec center, pretending she had nowhere to be. Then double back when no one was watching. In the small side room with dusted mats and cracked mirrors, she trained. Martial arts. Taekwondo. Muay Thai. The only place she felt in control. It started as self-defense, but over time, it became something more. A quiet rebellion. A way to reclaim her body, her space, her story. But not even spinning kicks and focused breath could prepare her for what would happen the week before prom. Her part tweened the cruel joka. Every spring, the Fairview Prom Committee ran a promposal contest, where guys staged extravagant asks and students voted for their favorite. It was a tradition steeped in popularity and social media metrics. Ella, of course, had no plans to attend. She didn't even own a dress. So when Jake Turner, the star quarterback and the school's golden boy, walked up to her in the cafeteria with a bouquet of sunflowers and asked, "Ella Mendez, will you go to prom with me?" She didn't believe it was real. She blinked, confused. The entire cafeteria went silent. Phones rose. Cameras rolled. Jake smiled like a Hollywood prince, her voice barely above a whisper. She asked, "Are you serious?" And then the laughter started. Jake's smile turned into a smirk. The bouquet fell to the ground, and someone behind her snorted. She thought it was real. Ella's stomach dropped. A video played on someone's phone. It was her, wide-eyed and hopeful, looped over and over. A prank, a joke, and she was the punchline. Jake laughed. "Simon? Guys, lighten up! It's just a joke." Nobody thought she'd actually say yes, right? Ella turned and ran. Her chest burned. Her face was hot with shame. The video would be on TikTok by evening. The hashtags were already writing themselves. Fef promposal fail, Fef invisible girl no more, Part 3, the gym incident. The week that followed was torture. Whispers stalked her down hallways. Laughter echoed in locker rooms. Even teachers, unsure of what to say, avoided eye contact. But the worst came during Friday's pep rally, the event that kicked off prom weekend. Everyone was in the gym. Ella tried to disappear into the back bleachers, hoodie up, eyes down. But fate had other plans. "Well, Ella?" A voice rang out. Ashley Monroe, head cheerleader and Jake's on, again, off again girlfriend. "See Mir," she called sweetly, but with venom under every syllable. Ella hesitated. Everyone turned. She felt the heat of hundreds of eyes. Before she could retreat, two cheerleaders came up behind her and grabbed her arms. "Simon," one said. "Let's give the crowd a show." They dragged her to the center of the gym floor, where Ashley stood with a microphone. Jake was there too, trying not to look guilty. "This one's for you," Ashley said, eyes sparkling. "You know, some girls dream of standing under the spotlight. So we thought we'd help you live your dream." And then, in one swift, humiliating moment, Ashley reached out and ripped Ella's shirt. The gym gasped. Cameras flashed. Ella stood frozen, clutching the torn fabric across her chest, humiliated beyond words. But then something snapped inside her. Not like a twig, like a damn bone breaking back into place. Part 4, the kick that changed everything. Ella's body moved before her mind caught up. She dropped the torn shirt, pivoted, and in one fluid motion, executed a spinning roundhouse kick that landed squarely on Ashley's shoulder, knocking her to the ground with a stunned scream. Gasps turned to screams. Jake stepped forward, confused, and Ella turned to him too, her stance calm, centered. "Try me next," she said, voice steel. Jake held up his hands and backed off. The gym was silent. Not the kind of silence you get from boredom or confusion, but the silence of awe, raw, electric, and on the edge of something historic. Ella looked around. Her face was flushed, her breath steady. She wasn't invisible anymore. She walked to the center of the gym, looked into the sea of stunned faces, and said clearly, "I'm done hiding." Then she picked up the torn sunflower bouquet, tucked it under her arm like a trophy, and walked out of the gym barefoot, unbothered. Hun Part 50 Aftershock. The video went viral overnight. But this time, it wasn't a prank. It was a reckoning. Fascia Girl Strike trended globally. News outlets picked it up. Influencers reposted it. Self-defense instructors praised her form. Feminist writers hailed her courage. For every meme that mocked her before, 1,000 voices now lifted her up. Back at school, the tides shifted. Ashley was suspended. Jake was asked to make a public apology. Not just by the principal, but by the school board. Some students tried to apologize to Ella in the halls. She didn't return the same way she had been, but taller, more assured, and with her head held high. She declined the prom invitation from the administration. Instead, she organized a power night at the local rec center, a gathering for students who had been bullied, rejected, or silenced, where they could share their stories, dance freely, and train in self-defense if they wanted to. Over 300 people showed up. Final part, the message. Ella never set out to be a hero. She never wanted the spotlight. But sometimes heroes are forged in the fire of humiliation, not glory. She taught the world that strength isn't about fame, popularity, or power. It's about standing tall when everyone wants you small. It's about knowing your worth when the world tells you you're worthless. And sometimes, it's about knowing exactly when to kick. Hard, inspiring ending message to anyone who's ever been laughed at, to the ones who eat lunch alone, to the ones who feel too quiet, too awkward, too much, or never enough. This is your reminder. You are not invisible. You are not powerless. And you don't need anyone's permission to rise. Sometimes all it takes is one brave moment. And one hell of a roundhouse kick.